Hi, and we are live. Hello, everyone. I'm joined today by Josh. Josh, I believe it's your first time at the Scoot Scoot Friday.
Yep, first time.
Do you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. My name is Josh. As it was said, I worked at the Montreal Repair Hub for about 2.5 years, and during that time, I learned how to fix pretty much every single one of our scooters, from the smallest thing to the biggest problem. And since Montreal Repair Hub has closed, I have transitioned this year into a more customer service role, and now I am a part of our T2 technical support team, and I help lead the team with more of the challenging repairs that we face.
Awesome. Yeah, it seems like a couple of people in the chat saw you in the videos before on the repair guides, right? So
Yep.
you're already a star. Nice, nice. So great to have you here. Maybe it would be interesting for people to see to learn a bit more with all the experience that you had on fixing scooters. So maybe you can tell us what's your favorite scooter to work on and what's the worst one.
My favorite scooter to work on is probably the original Phantom. The original Phantom is just, it's pretty straightforward. It's a lot of just quick connects. The like when you go to replace a motor on a Phantom versus like a City Pro or even a Ghost, it's just so much easier. It's much more straightforward. You go to replace a controller, it's a lot more it's complicated, but it's a lot more straightforward. I feel like the Phantom was built better for repairs versus a lot of the other models that we used to sell, especially our legacy models. I remember working on the Ghost 21 and even the Ghost 22, and it's the worst thing in the world. It was one of the worst repairs that I would have to do. And no repair is fun, but the Phantom is definitely the easiest.
Yeah, like you said, all those easy plug connectors and the fact that all the wires are exposed as well, right? It's a
Yeah.
lot more straightforward than yeah, when we hide the wires. Compromise on design, but yeah, a lot easier to fix and even identify the wires, right?
Exactly. Yeah. It's so much easier to identify the wires. I mean, especially with the lighting. The lighting wires are always the most complicated things to figure out, but with
Yeah.
the Phantom, it's pretty straightforward. Left side is left side, right side is right side.
Okay, that's nice. That's nice. So the favorite one to work on is the first one we launched our design, right? Um, and what would be the worst one? You know, the one that just makes you sweat.
Um, there's a lot of them. I think the worst one is the Explorer and the Ghost. I know we don't do anything with the Explorer too much nowadays, but that was always really bad. Especially when having to replace motors and tires, because you had to squeeze the tire through the motors to get it seated onto the rim correctly, and it just sucked, especially for the Ghost. The Ghost by far, because of how crowded it is inside the deck, it just, you have no space to work at all.
Even to get it back in, you need to like put it exactly how it was, right? And yeah,
Yeah,
not
yeah,
ideal. I remember for me the on the Explore in the city, the two really hard things to replace were the front LED, right, passing through the
yeah,
direction shaft, which to replace you need to cut and solder, which is just so hard, right? And the folding mechanism, right, to replace like the spring hidden inside on the stack. It's to
yeah.
this day,
There's
right? It's very hard.
yeah, that one was a real headache. I guess I sort of threw it out of my head because I hate that one so much. The floating mech, the spring and the pin. That one was so bad. It's tough.
the at least on the bright side, we learned from it, right? And none of our new design had this kind of fix inside.
Thank God.
Okay, great. And I see we have a couple of questions here, so people feel free to ask any maintenance related question or anything tech wise. We have a champion with us. So we see in the chat, Chog Geologist. Hey man, I saw your video on YouTube. Good job. Somebody exceeded what 1,000 kilometers on their pro. Good job, Borealis Knight. That's a lot of mileage. How much mileage you have on your pro, Josh?
I think right now I have about 1,800 kilometers, but I mean, I've gone through a couple different controllers, so more than that.
To test, right? That's because
To
we're
test.
testing the new.
Yeah, exactly.
Good morning, Martin. Okay, from Lawrence S, we have a question. Hi, would it be possible to reverse the power button function on the Pro? For example, single click to change gear or double click for headlights. We could, it's crazy. It's always the same debate that we have. Before it was like this, then people said, well, you actually turn on and off the lights more often than you change gear. So we made it like the opposite. So it seems like it's really a question of preference. Mapping it in the app maybe could be interesting to have control over buttons of like the action they do, but for now, no. This would be low priority. But I think overall we could work on better ergonomics for the lights button and those kind of things. Maybe inspiring from like mopeds, motorcycle, how they do it. So if we change it, it's probably going to be a total revamp rather than this, which is surprisingly complicated to implement. To have a mappable button system, as we would call it. All right, a question for you, Josh. Why spray the rubber block with white lithium grease? Better to use silicone for rubber.
So white lithium grease just typically always lasts longer. Silicone-based greases, they're gonna dry up a lot quicker. For example, if you use regular WD-40, it's not really meant for lubricating, I guess. It's more meant for as like a penetrating oil, where if you have a rusty nut or screw and you need to try to get it off, you're going to want to use regular WD-40. Whereas white lithium grease, it's a real lubricant. It doesn't dry up. It does dry up eventually, but not nearly as fast. And it's more efficient to use a white lithium grease than a silicone based grease. It just, especially with rubber, I believe a silicone based grease or lubricant, it's gonna eat up at the rubber, and it's gonna probably cause problems with that rubber just because of the chemicals.
Right. There is some grease made with it's petrol based, and yeah, those are the one that's going to eat up your rubber. And the thing is, those are guidelines, right? That we offer. There's always like different brands of grease. They're so wildly different. Like the one you mentioned about like a WD-40, they do their white lithium grease, but you can take like another white lithium grease from another brand, and the texture is completely different. Like and how thick it is. So it's really it really depends. It varies. And for all the suspension of the rear, for all lubrication of rear suspension on the Pro or the Go with rubber block, when it makes sound, the important thing to grease is really the pivot point of that suspension. You get it out, grease it, put it back in. That's what's going to stop all the sounds.
Yeah.
And we have a video on YouTube on this if anyone is curious how to do it. On the Pro, quite hard. On the Go, it's a lot more manageable. We have a question from Laiv, I believe. Any progress on getting some support in the Washington, D.C. area? For this area specifically, I'm not sure. Josh, would you know?
I'm pretty sure we have a location. It's not an authorized location, but we do know that some customers have brought their scooters to, I don't know the name of the location, but I think there is a location in the Washington, D.C. area where our customers have brought their scooters to, and they've had them serviced. And typically, if your scooter is under warranty and your repair shop finds that your scooter is suffering a manufacturing defect, what we'll typically ask you to do is to pay for the repair fees or the labor fees or whatever, and send us the receipt and we reimburse you. Um, so if you're in the Washington, D.C. area and you need repair support and you're able to find a shop that isn't authorized but will work on your scooter, you can bring it there. And as long as it's determined to be a manufacturing defect, we'll cover it. Just make sure to send us the receipt.
Yes, I would say it's like get a quote first, send it to us, because some repair centers are going to charge $350 an hour, and this we won't cover.
Yeah.
We have special agreement with our repair center, so check with us first. But if everything is good, well, and it's also interesting for us to like start working with those repair center that you guys are finding, and then after that onboard them in the official pipeline, of all our repair centers. But this is working really well for us so far. The third-party servicing network, and it's growing. To know exactly about Washington, though, we I will check, and maybe next week we can let you know in the live. But the team, I know the team is working really hard to expand that service.
Mhm.
Another question from Cha. Anyway, my Apollo Go started developing creaking noise on either the rear suspension or the swing arm in just over 500 miles of riding and just over a month. Still runs smooth and silent in motion. So yeah, I would just say grease the pivot point of the rear suspension. It's really easy. You don't take it out completely. You just remove the screw, hammer it out a little bit, and then grease it from both sides and on the shaft. Put it back, and you're gonna be fine probably forever. Josh, what kind of grease were we using again for the pivot point, the black grease?
It was a high industrial grade, like truck type of grease. I don't know
Right,
the name of it right now, but it was a really, really strong grease. The type of grease that you use on
on
like
the fifth wheel, I think, right? Like the plates of the
like on trailer trucks.
yes, exactly. So I would, if you don't want to buy a whole tube of this, it's pretty cheap. Though. You can buy it for $15. But if you go at the garage, that's what they grease the fifth wheel plate on tractor with. So that's what we use, and it resists to high pressure. Because that pivot point is so tight between the frame, well, the suspension arm, the frame, and the shaft that you need something that's not just going to leak out. It needs to stay there. Yeah. Um, all right, Dave Black. Why do older scooter have spaghetti wires? Is there an easy way to confirm the wires within the deck? Seems industry wide.
Um, I'm not 100% sure what you mean by spaghetti wires. Awa, do you know?
I know. I know. I was hoping that you know. Well, I guess why is it a mess, right? When we open the deck compared to our new models, and there's so many wires, all different colors too, which on one side make it easier to identify, but on the other side it looks even worse. Is there easy way to identify them? Yes. On most of them, we do have our wiring diagram available if you ask customer service. And for the older model, like the old Apollo Pro, the Explorer, the City, you can look with those were like a product that we took from the factory and improved a little bit and rebranded and sold them. So you can look for the alternative model of them online with the wiring diagram, and there's so many information out there. But why? I guess it's because nobody cares to really like do a nice job. Those factories, they are pumping out crazy volumes, and nobody care. They never take care of the after sell, right? They're gonna sell spare parts to the distributor, like Apollo was one, and they never deal with the customer, so they never have to explain why it looked like spaghetti wire, or they just don't care. They buy a controller, they buy the parts, they make sure it's the same connector, and that's the extent of the research that they do.
Another thing
So I
is,
hope this answers it. little bit. Yeah, go
with
ahead, Chuck.
those factories, it's like you said, they want to pump out volume. They're not really caring about quality over quantity. They care more about quantity over quality. And really, my belief is they jam in all those wires just because it's what works. They don't care about making it clean or look good or repairable at all, which is something I learned in the repair hub. I honestly don't think these factories want you to be able to repair the scooters, even though we are able to. Um, I just think they want you to just buy, and not repair.
And the thing too is that they use the same option controller on the same, let's say, Apollo City 2019 to 2021. The model changed a little bit, improved, but and the same controller in the Apollo Ghost and the Apollo Original Pro. So they want to make it as flexible as possible. So they're gonna put extra wires and everything, so they can order one SKU that's gonna fit multiple models and requirements.
Yeah,
One thing though that is very nice with, like, let's say our motor wire now, or even our controller wires, is what how they feel like, right? The old one, it's like a small wire that you can give like a kink to it when you like fold it. This
yeah,
is not the best kind of material inside. Our wires that we have now, don't have the controller here, but they're very flexible, right? It's impossible to give them a kink, and this is because of the quality of the actual wire material inside. So that's a quick test you guys can do too when you open the scooter to just how it feels. Does it feel cheap, or it feels like a big smooth cable? And when you cut it, you see it, right? The other one, it's like I don't know. You have a couple wires all twisted together, maybe copper, sometime or steel, I guess. Ours, you cut it and you have almost 1,000 little wires, right? So yeah, and why is it important? Because it can take a much higher load. It's going to conduct electricity a lot better than a cheaper material, but it's expensive. Um, all right, another comment from Chuck Geologist. Oh boy, Mappa logo is a total game changer. The park mode is a tremendous lifesaver inside public transport. Uh, Inside public transit, that it won't suddenly rock back and forth when the train is braking and accelerating. Yes, that's a it's a useful use case of the park mode for sure. Glad you like it. Boreal is like my first 1,000 kilometers has been flawless, and the only sound you hear at high speed is the tire. Nice, and the people screaming at you. Vel Mano, can a 280-pound guy ride on the Apollo City? I believe the city, the weight limit is 265.
yeah,
Am I correct? Yes. No, 280. It's fine. It's a bit over it. We say this because of what the tires are rated at, and also to get. We want you to have a good experience, right? So we want the motor to be able to push enough for you, and at the end of the day, the city is a 48-volt scooter in its current configuration. So I would say yes, it's fine, and but yeah, maybe since you're a little bit bigger, the Phantom or the Pro, which is decently more expensive, but the Phantom might be a better alternative for you. But yeah, we have people here that are over that are riding the city, so I wouldn't be too worried. From Chow Geologist, how do I sign up for the A11 beta program? I would only get it if it's for free because I'm a fanatic with my Apollo Go. So it's definitely not free. And even if it's not free, the cost for us is tremendous. Honestly, it's insanely high because they're all airshipped from China. Then we airship it to you. And we are covering that. It's insane, the cost of it. So we ask people to pay at least the cost of the scooter. So it will not be free. How you can sign in? You just join the regular beta program that clearly it is too hard to reach this form online because everybody always asks about it. But you can ask customer service. They're going to send it to you and you're registered through there. Usually we ask people to sign it for the software one, and then we filter it with the software list to see who's going to have access to the hardware one, as we want really the most hardcore rider, and also people that's going to provide valuable feedback. So we don't just let anyone in that just want the new model before everyone else. But yeah, so we'll put it on the website more clearly. Maria, you are in the back end, so you can take note of that, please. And yeah, exciting to see it. And I know Josh keep harassing me to get the this one, the A11 or Phantom 2.0, as we now call it. That is here in the background, can't see it, but it's there. It's looking at you guys. All right. And maybe we can talk after that a bit more in details about the A11 and what is your take on it, Josh, that you did the top speed run now and everything, so we can get to that. From Shane Dubs, I'm out riding my Pro on a beautiful Chicago summer day, about to hit 1,900 miles today. Then, good job. 1,900 miles, that's a lot of mileage on it. I hope everything is going well for you. Went to Chicago 2 months ago and love the city. It's beautiful, nice architecture as well. Would love to ride my scooter there. Make it a choice like cruise. Mhm. I guess for the gear change, cruise control was a very hard to implement. You have to convince a lot of people to work on that feature to implement it. You have the software guy that needs to work on it, like on our factory, the display guy that needs to work on it, and the controller guys. So it's honestly it's more difficult than it seems. So maybe, to be honest, a low priority right now. But noted. When from D Batch, what's up? When will email for purchase on early access A11 go out? Maria, maybe you can let D know in the comments here. This is a good question. I am not sure. Vel Mano. I want to buy the Apollo City, but it says 265-pound limit. What about guy slightly heavier than the limit? Will it be okay to buy the scooter once it hit the buy button, but wants to make sure? Yeah, it's gonna be fine. 280, 265 until the 50 pounds. It's gonna make the difference. And again, we have heavier people riding it at the office every day, so I have no I have no worries. And when we test our scooters, you can go online and look at our rig testing that we do in China. The weight that we put on our scooter is well above that. So we take this into consideration. I would suggest not jumping curb on it to spare the suspension, but I'm sure you're still going to be pushing 45 kilometers an hour at least, no problem. So just go for it. Does my Pro rubber block need to be greased from Borealis night? Again, if there's any noise, the shaft is the thing to grease. You can start by the rubber block if you want. Sometimes it is this if there's dust jammed in there, but usually it's really the shaft. If there's no sound, don't grease it. And before you grease it, let's say the block, I would suggest cleaning it properly with the hose. Like hose down this portion to get all the dust out and then grease it, so you don't grease it and all the dust is stuck there after. From Robo, I love Apollo e-scooters. Well, thank you. We love you too. Ciao, Geologist. I use DuPont brand for the grease. I have both white lithium and silicone, and famous DuPont brand with their Teflon lovely coating. It should be good, right? They make forever chemical, right? So I guess it's going to last a long time on your suspension. Don't inhale it. From Viet Pham, hi, do you have the Air 2024 assembling video? Just want to reinsure its waterproof rating. Not sure what is the question. How is the Air 2024 assembled? Maybe. Do we have a video on that? We have plenty of videos. All right, Josh, about to open the enclosure.
Yeah, there's tons of videos on YouTube showing like different repairs, but I don't think we have a video from the factory showing how the Air is assembled, like from step one to when it gets to your door. Just don't think that's something we have, something we could consider in the future, maybe when I was in China, but I don't know.
I would suggest maybe looking at how to replace a battery on the Apollo Air, a video that we have, and you're going to see us removing all the enclosures to get there, and it's going to give you a very good idea of how we achieve the waterproofing. Again, they are rated for IP66 by a laboratory, so that's a rating. And the 2024 was improved from the 2023 to make it even more waterproof by extending the mode of extrusion just a little bit. From Amazing Shades, is it possible to upgrade the deck button that latch the stem on the Pro? It feels like a prototype compared to the rest of the scooter and gets stuck often. Uh, it comes with the deck, so you could replace it. For if it gets stuck because your foot is on it, right? Stuff can get stuck in there. The solution that we found is to clean it again, clean it with water, with air, and then you spray lubricant in there, like go generously in that mechanism, and then after that, for us, it's fine for forever. I don't know, Josh, if you have any other suggestion.
For that one, use a silicone-based lubricant because it's metal on metal. So I know a lot of the scooter is metal on metal, but for that, it just works better. Silicone-based white lithium is it's too thick of a lubricant.
Awesome. And yeah, just make sure to clean it first. You want to get all the stuff out before going and putting lubricant in there. But yeah, it happened to me with the early Pro, and after I greased it, I never had that problem. And again, I ride my Pro too much, so I'm sure you're going to be fine. This is interesting. We had the design, of a cap, a lid that was going over the button that you could flip out and then lock, and I decided not to do it because I thought it was too many steps to, okay, you have to fold, then you need to hold this up, right? It's spring loaded, then align it and lock it. I was like, and we got that complaint of like stuck only once or twice since we started. So we thought it was not necessary. For the A11 though, for the Go, we improved that button tremendously. This never happens with the Go. And for the A11, it's going to be just the same thing. We're getting better at it. And on the A11, it's so smooth when you lock it, you don't even realize it's locked. It just goes in. You're like, oh shit. So really excited for all of you to see it. But yes, for the button, clean it, lube it, and enjoy. Talking about the button. From Dylan Turanen, are you planning a scooter with a 120-kilometer range? Damn, my Phantom V3 used 60% battery just getting to work, especially with Vancouver, BC Hill, kills the range. Yeah, that's fair. More range would help me rely less on my car. So Dylan, I think for you, so you have 60% left. You use 60%, or we use 60%, so you have 40% left. I guess it's decently far. 120-kilometer range, that's what you can take the Pro and put it at 120 depending on the speed you go. But with the hills, and I don't know your weight, Dylan, it's gonna be tough. And no, we're never gonna go like a 45 Ah battery. I'm never gonna do that. So I would say no. But for the Phantom 2.0, again, it's on the 52 volt configuration, you're looking at 52 volt, 27 Ah. So a decent increase compared to the 23.5 Ah of your Phantom. So right there, you would get more range. And it's also 21,700 cell. Compared to your Phantom, it's 18,650. This is just the dimension of the cell. And it's able to discharge more, and it's going to affect less the battery. So yeah, with those hills, you should be able to climb them easier and still have decent capacity. So maybe you would get to work with using only 45 or 50% of your battery. That'll be the first point. The Phantom 2.0 60 volt, it's going to be 60 volt 30 Ah. So you pass, right now you have 1400 watt hour, or maybe even 1200 watt hour. You would pass to 1800 watt hour. So that 30% increase on the capacity of the battery, plus the benefit of the 60 volt. So I think for you, the new Phantom would probably be the way to go. And the new Phantom is going to have other tire options. So for BC, it would be perfect with all the off-roading you can do with it. Justin Ma, what's up? I just joined, but I'm shocked that there are no more questions on the Phantom 2.0. What the fuck? I agree. I was expecting this to be flooded with the question of the new Phantom. So again, please go ahead if you have any questions. I asked some months ago, when will the Go be sold in Australia? Is there an update on the estimated ETA? You can buy the Go right now in Australia with Scooter Hut. They have 13 stores. The Apple logo is there. They just ordered more, so you can buy there. From Justin Ma, just power through the questions. It's finished, not an hour and 30 minutes like last. Can you tell us what is happening on October 2024 with that Phantom 2.0 announcement? To be honest, I don't know, Justin. I think it's just we're gonna pump out more videos, you know, the walkthrough and everything. Uh, this is what is happening in October. Uh, Moto Master, Moly, extreme pressure grease lithium. Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
that's
that's the one we have actually. So that's what you need to use for the suspension, pivot point on your suspension. Um, from the batch, when will the Ghost 2.0 video drop? Never. It is a Phantom 2.0. It's gonna be in October. In October, we're gonna start pumping out everything. Everything is recorded. We even have testimonial of people trying it here in the canal, so it's all recorded. We just need to make it to push it live, basically. Um, from Dylan, I love AMP system, but earning 1 amp per mile is tricky in Canada. It'd be easier if AMP matched the exact distance, like 2.8 miles for 2.8 points. So no conversion is needed for anyone. Yes, I agree. You know, and for me, I always calculated it in kilometers, but we decided to go in miles at the end. I completely agree with you, Dylan. So we are improving it. As you probably all saw, the app is so much better now that you see like the gas saving when you finish your ride and you have the amp is it's pretty awesome. But yes, we will continue to improve. Okay, to jump to there's so many questions, but again, I'm not going. Okay, it goes on. uh, let's talk about the Phantom 2.0. Josh, you had the opportunity to try it, test it, even try the Mac 3 controller at a 60-volt version. What is your impression? What for you stood out from the Phantom 1.0? Tell us everything.
so honestly, the Phantom 2.0 is, in the best way to describe it, a Pro Mini in sort of ways. Except I hate to say this, but better. It's better. I think the Phantom 2.0 is gonna be like the to go to scooter for most of our customers, especially our current Phantom riders. It's everything the Phantom 1.0 has, but double. It's just so much more stable. The bigger tires feel so much better. Oh my god, man. I in comparison from riding that scooter at the racetrack and having to go back home on my Phantom 1.0, it was disappointing. And after that, I had to message you and be like, so where's my Phantom 2.0? And I really think it's everything the Phantom 1.0 offers, but double that, triple that, like top speed, torque, the braking system, the regen braking. We didn't really get to try it too much, but I got to try it a little bit, and it was good. It felt nice. It felt better than the Mac 2 controller. It felt like it had a little bit more strength to it, which personally I like more strength towards my regen braking than less. Um, I definitely think it's going to be a really great scooter for getting around, for going on long rides, fast rides, and
And what did you think of the acceleration, right? Let's think people care about the Ludo mode. Trying the Ludo mode on your Phantom V3 with the latest Mac 1 controller and this one. What was your experience?
I mean, when the 60-volt Ludo is actually insane. I mean, I hope we'll show it in the videos, but those tires were, they didn't want to stop spinning. They just, I think what it was like 0 to 40 in less than 3 seconds, less than 2 seconds. And on the Phantom 1.0, I know it's only 52 volt, but it takes at least a solid 4 or 5 seconds, I think, to get to 40 kilometers
We're
per hour.
talking kilometers an hour. Yes, yes.
Yeah, kilometers per hour. And I mean, it's insane. It's insane. I think you could race the Pro and the Phantom 2.0, and it would be really, really, really close. I mean, I don't know. Maybe even the Phantom would win. It's possible. I think maybe possibly because the Phantom has smaller tires, it could win in a race versus the Pro. But again, I mean, that's not what we're talking about. I think the Phantom 2.0 is great. I've always been a big fan of the Phantom 1.0, and I think the Phantom 2.0 really does a good job of complementing everything that Phantom 1.0 did really well.
Awesome. That's a great testimonial. And yeah, as you mentioned, we recorded videos, right, showing all the difference between the acceleration of the Pro, the Phantom 2.0, the Phantom Mac 3 controller, everything. So I'm excited to show it to the rest of the people, and we see you ripping on that in that video. All right, well, I believe that's it. Thank you so much, Josh, for joining. Do you have any last word for the community? Anything? Anything?
Ride more scooters. Just that's it. Ride more scooters.
Lovely. Well, on that note, thank you so much, everyone. Sorry we couldn't get through all the comments. There is an immense amount. For next week or the week after, please post it in advance so we can prepare more. Those videos about what we're just talking about, again, it's probably going to be around October, maybe a little bit before. So yeah, keep an eye open, and we'll see you next week. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.